7:50 Saturday night, 7:35 p.m. It's at the foot of the mountain. It's coming from you from Bluebet Stadium, the home of the Penrith Panthers. You've got first place. You've got just holding on to obviously the top 8 position. You've got a team that can't beat a top 8 side. Talk to me about this Penrith side. Does that streak continue? Do they keep closing their grasp on that minor premiership? Talk to me about this Penrith Panthers side.
Yeah, look, you got the $1 million man reportedly in Dylan Edwards, going to re-sign shortly. Suna Tavara, Tyrone Peachy, Stephen Crichton, Brighton Todd, Jerome Luai, Nathan Cleary, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, James Fisher-Harris, Scott Sorensen, Liam Martin. Congratulations on re-signing for $4.75 million until 2027. Isaiah Yeo, Sonny Luke, Lindsay Smith, your man, Matt Heisenhuth, Zach Hosking, Jack Croker, Luke Gardner, Jamin Salmon, Tom Jenkins, Liam Henry. Do they have... I'll say this. On the minor premiership, they have one hand. There are two hands currently holding this, and then the other one is the Brisbane Broncos. I think we said at the start of the year, you would be a silly man to write them off from not having a deep run into this season. Did I expect them to have the season that they're having? No. Is it surprising? No, given that they've won back-to-back. But the 5 games that they have lost, I just thought that would be a lot more, maybe in the 7, maybe 8 games. But nonetheless, they have been playing well without their man, Nathan Cleary. They have played okay without their origin stars during that origin period. Shout out to my team, the North Queensland Cowboys, to show them that we can win without our origin stars. Nonetheless, we talked about Liam Martin as a Jerome Luai, Dylan Edwards, who would you re-sign in a 1-2-3? And they're apparently, from all reports, they're going to re-sign Jerome Luai as well with the money that they've got in their cap. How they haven't been done by the NRL auditors for salary cap breachment, I don't know. Maybe they're saving on the money with Stephen Crichton moving, that they're going to re-sign him. But nonetheless, look, they should go out and win this game. They should go out and they did a terrific game last weekend. Really put an icing on the cake on being on top of the ladder, and they continue just to run out, do their job, win big, or win comfortably, should I say, and it's just a stock standard Penrith side. And unfortunately, I'm getting quite bored of watching a Penrith game because it's just the same thing each and every week, regardless of the opposition.
I kind of agree with you, don't get me wrong, and I think I've got a bit more enjoyment out of Penrith, obviously, with Lindsay playing a lot more minutes this year. But I've got to give props to Ivan here now. He went out against that Bulldogs side last week. Obviously, Nathan Cleary came back. You're playing against your old assistant coach. And if there's anyone that's going to know your plays and how you play more than, I guess, yourself, it's going to be your assistant coaches. They're going to know exactly what the plays. And what I saw from Cleary was he turned around. He said, usually, you know what? Our outside backs, our fullback, our left and right wing, our left and right center, They're going to take the big hits. They're going to go crazy. They're going to push the momentum. They're going to get us on the front foot. Clear is going to get kick-in pressure, and we're going to slowly break him down. But it was as if he went, okay, Serrato knows that. Serrato's going to come at me. He's going to try and stop that. So what I'm going to do is Liam Martin, Scott Sorensen, go 100 miles per hour. You guys take the hit ups. You smash people for the first couple hits. Lindsay, you come on, take heaps of hit ups. And all of a sudden, besides Brian Toto, who I think had run for 120 meters early in the game with a line break, the forwards were laying the foundation. So it was as if he went, I know how the Bulldogs are going to play. They know how we're going to play. Let's flip the script. And I think that goes a long way in why I had this team winning the minor premiership. Now, did I have them going for a three-peat? No, I thought someone would upset them, but I think they could take out the minor premiership this year. And I'm bloody scared that they could go back to back to back, and we'll have to listen to their fans for another 12 months. But let's look at the other side of the table, because this was a side that we obviously gave a lot of praise last year. We gave a lot of praise at the start of this season. They are struggling against the top 8 sides, but they are flat track bullies. They're beating the bottom 9. You've got William Kennedy, Sione Katoa, Mr. Ramian, Connor Tracy, Mr. Ronaldo Militalo, Braden Trindle, Nicholas Hines, Oregon Kafusi, Blake Brayley, Toby Rudolph, Britton Nakora, Wade Graham, and Cameron McInnes locking the scrum. You don't have on the interchange bench Jack Williams, Talakai, Thomas Hazelton, and Royce Hunt, with an extended bench of Matt Moylan, who is still out of this squad, but in the 18th man jersey, Kyle Iro, Braden Hamlin Ueli, Daniel Atkinson, and Tuku Hua Tapua. So, again, on paper, great squad. Most weeks you're taking them for a win, but they are playing a top 8 side. We know their records against top 8 sides. When a team is in the top 8 when they play them, they haven't won against them this year. Now, yes, Parramatta have snuck into the 8, so they have technically beaten a top 8 side this year. But, Baxter, what do you put that down to? Do you put it down to the mentality side of the Sharks going, we can't beat a top 8 side? Or do you put it down to it's just another level where the Sharks just can't get to that level this year of the rest of these top 8 sides?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wanted to say about the Cronulla Sharks. And before last week, they were 7-31 against a top side in the top NRL side in the top 8, starting from the 2020 season during COVID. So they went 0-9. Next season they went 2-9. The next season they went 4-7, which is their best. And this year they're 1-6. That one game being against the Parramatta Eels, in the second week of this competition when Parramatta weren't running that crash hot. So as well as that, like we talk about the head coach Craig Fitzgibbon. He was a massive defensive coach at the Sydney Roosters, and to see this side go out the back door with a loss in the final series, the way they did, they put up a commanding lead against us in the first week of the finals, then to only have that slip away into Golden Point into a loss in the first week, then going over to the new Allianz Stadium against the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and another terrible loss for them. Comfortable win for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They're on Mad Monday. Now, as I look at this squad, 1-22, Matt Moylan, they took a gamble on him last week to drop him. They rested as well Wade Graham. That didn't pay off. It almost did, but would have been the biggest NRL comeback in history. I thought Matt Moylan was better at 6. There were concerns on the left-hand side of defence with that area with leaking tries. Nonetheless, they're leaking tries everywhere. To say Matt Moylan's out of the squad because of that is a bit of a harsh one. Unlucky. Talakai moved from centres to now on the bench as well. Another Origin player, another player who was picked and dumped by Freddie. And again,
should have never been picked. But keep going. Should have never been picked, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. It was what it was. But in that side, no one's really played some tough, nail-biting, high-pressure cooked games to date. Now you can say, "Oh, Nico Hines, he sat on the bench for the Melbourne Storm. He isn't out there. He wasn't out there in the grind of it, in the midst of it, when it came to those pressure moments. He come on maybe in the last 5 minutes when Storm had won. He wasn't really surrounded in that high pressure environment on the field. He was on the sidelines. That was okay, fair enough. Take him out of the picture. And again, I still have this squad having lack of finals and high pressure state games in the bag. So when it comes to those moments when you come up against any other squad, when Nathan Cleary, he's been a part of some state of origin nail biters where he's had to pull a rabbit out of the hat that's been worn by the someone in the stands that he's just had to do or whatever. He's been a part of it. This Penrith squad have been a part of it. The Cronulla Sharks have not, and that's where I think when it push comes to shove, they crumble. They just don't have that mental toughness to go, okay, let's absorb for the next 10 minutes all this aggression, attack, ferocity from the opposition in our defense, and then we'll just lay it on in attack. They just seem to crumble. And as I touched on at the start, they are 7-31 against the top 8 sides before last weekend. It's really disappointing. They really had a favorable run, or they had a favorable season last year. They versed a lot of bottom 8 sides, which gave them a second spot finish in the season. And this year it looks the same. So they're winning the games that they should be, but when they come up against, say, a Storm, loss. Penrith, I think they versed them earlier this year, lost. Broncos, lost. So it's not really one to be so surprised at, given that stat. And as I touched on, they've got a really healthy for and against at 98. They sit currently 6th, one above us. With
let me throw that to you, obviously, Baxter, because I know the point you're going. You're talking about their position there for and against. Now they sit above you on for and against. You jump them with your bye. They've got no buys left. So let's say mathematically at the moment they sit even with South Sydney and Parramatta and themselves on 26 points. You guys on 28 with no other games played, just the buys taken into account.
Yep.
Giving away your tip, do you have them beating Penrith this week?
No.
Okay. We'll get to the margin in a second. Do you have them beating South Sydney next week?
No.
You might give them this one. Do you have them beating the Gold Coast Titans?
That will be a 50-50.
Okay, so let's give them that one, because I don't think we're going to give them many more as we look at their run home.
All right,
so let's say they move to 28 points and now equal with you, and they need to hope that obviously the Parramatta Eels have lost, because with their loss to South Sydney as predicted, they will also be on 28 points. They take on Newcastle in Newcastle.
Again, another 50-50 being in Newcastle.
Being in Newcastle's favour, I'd argue at home, so benefit of the doubt, it could go each way. They then take on the Canberra Raiders to finish their season.
Again, being at home, Raiders, like that's come the end of the season. These are two teams that sit. What day of the weekend is that game played between the Cronulla Sharks and the Canberra Raiders, round 27? Do you have it in front of you? No.
I will get it up for you. It is on the 3rd of September,
which is
it is a Sunday, so it'll be one of the last game. It'll be the last game of round 27.
So really, given that, they will know what the season looks like, and come the end of the season, it could be really 9th versus 8th, the way it's going, and it could be winner takes 8th. Really, that's what I'm going with. It could be winner takes 8th, loser Mad Monday, like we had so many seasons ago with the Tigers and the Sharks battling out for 8th spot. Where Paul Gallen,
the Tigers were playing for 8th.
Look, no, the Tigers were playing for 8th.
I thought they were playing to keep 9th position.
No, they were playing for 8th because Robbie Farah. It was Robbie Farah's last game in the NRL. it was last round of the season at Leichhardt Stadium, where I did make a cheeky a feature in, and Paul Gallen got the chocolates and played another.
You know what? Someone should have told Tigers they were trying to finish 8th and not 9th for those couple of years, because they might have played finals football.
And then Paul Gallen the week after went to Brookie, and they tore apart Manly in the first week of the finals, I think it was. So, So back to the original point, I have Penrith winning this without a doubt, 13 plus. My man, Dylan Edwards, double.
I like this week. I really like this week because I'm going 1 to 12. I'm going Penrith 1 to 12. But I guess my final question to you before we do obviously move on to the last couple games of the round. We've now talked about Cronulla. We've talked about the Canberra Raiders. We've talked about the Parramatta Eels. We've talked about South Sydney. Do the Sharks miss the 8?
The way they're going, it could end up being that way.
Would you put them down as your pick to miss the 8 out of those 4 teams?
For sure. I think it was I think when we looked at Sportsbet a few weeks ago, the Sharks were paying $15 to miss the 8. And that was before, I think it was just after Origin or whatever it was. And they were paying $15 to miss the 8. And now they're paying like $1, I think it was $1.50 at the current stage. I'll quickly look it up to give it just to have a quick check. But like for the bookies to drop their price that quickly and that low, it shows that there's something going afoot here. And
well, while you look that up, I think the scariest finish for the Sharks is they've slipped down the ladder during Origin, where it was a time where they should have been climbing the ladder, where they weren't affected for obviously game 2 and 3. They had their whole squad in their training camp. They didn't have to go to Origin. So I guess that's one of the most concerning backs that you have what it's currently paying for them to miss the 8.
Yeah, they have $2.20 from 15.
That is not bad odds. If you want to have a punt, please gamble.
Really? Oh, if you want to really another juicy bet, Canberra Raiders to miss the 8, $5.
I think the Raiders make it purely because I don't know if Newcastle have the resolve to do it. I don't think Manly do, and I think the only side I can potentially dropping out, I think the Sharks drop out before the Raiders. So I would be.
It could be for and against as well. Raiders, they could be on similar points, and Raiders just missed out on for and against. So
if I was a betting man, I'd be jumping on that $2.20.
I'm jumping on both of them. I've jumped on both of them. So, and that was paying big dollars back then. So,
let's keep moving back stuff.